Hello, BookTube. Cheers. Oh, boys, I hit the spot. 54 degrees Fahrenheit, so a little chilly. About actually perfect. Bright, bright blue skies. And this coming week is not going to be like that for the rest of the week, So we're going to enjoy it while we can. Took the family out. Had to go get bags and bags of candy for trick-or-treat. Had to get costumes, I think. And I had to get some books. So, and then I had to go get my son a bench vise. So, for a project he's working on. But I went out, had a lot of fun. First thing I did is because I have a pull list at Newbury Comics in West Lebanon, New Hampshire. Place I love, great staff, great store, great chain store. And this week I had in there Dune, House Atreides, number 11. Been reading these and really enjoying them. I was supposed to watch the movie last night, and I did not. So maybe tonight. Maybe I'll do it tonight. A little trepidation there, right? Ready for the other foot to fall on that one. And the other thing I've got here was Star Trek The Mirror War, number 1, cover A. I had number 0. I don't know why they do that. They've always done it. So I have not started to read these. So we'll have to see. And then, as usual, when I go there, I'll find something. So I probably need to edit my pull list a little bit, you know. I'm still getting tons of stuff that maybe I need to shift around a little bit. And if it's good, one of the things I'll shift to is one of these Boom comics. It's Firefly River Run. So, not big on the cover. I mean, I like the idea of it. Some of the artwork seems a little washed out to me, but that may just be me. If the story's good and the art, maybe it'll grow on me. So I like the TV show. So that's it on comics. I won't bore you anymore with that. So November is New World's November. Bunch of us are hosting a event created by the Bookish Bryants, Scott and Becky, and it's short. It's, for the most part, science fiction short stories, and there's prompts. And the first week is aliens, I believe. And I get these digest magazines. This one's a magazine of fantasy and science fiction, September, October. Always a good source of shorter works. Also a good place to look up, see what books are coming out or getting promoted. But in this case, a novella called The Abomination by Nuzo Ono. The Scorpion and the Syrinx by Brian Trent, which is a novelette. The first was a novella. The Forlorn by Matthew Hughes. And then short stories. They've got a bunch of them. Haunted Hills Community Country Club by Lincoln Michael. Ice Fishing on Europa by Aaron Barbeau. That one sounds pretty cool. Seedling by Octavia Cade. The Honorable and Esteemed Monsters Under My Bed by E.A. Borland. I like that title. Split the Baby by Carl Taylor. And In Rain, Blank Pages, Laura Gray. And Her Dragon by Amal Singh, which I'd actually like to take a look at that. So, and there's poems and departments where they do book reviews and movie reviews and all that stuff. So, Fantasy and Science Fiction magazine, or the magazine of fantasy and science fiction. And then, of course, I had to get Analog, and this is on November, December. That was September, October on fantasy and science fiction. I like these. I've mentioned it before that I got these at Books A Million, and they never have up here, at least in West Leb, they never have Isaac Asimov's magazine, Asimov's magazine, which I really like, and tends to have a lot of award-winning stories. So this is a continuation of a serial, Kepler's Law, and it's the conclusion by J. Werkheiser. The novelettes is The Milady by Shane Tortolate, I guess. I'm not sure how to say that. And then No Stranger to Native Shores by Matt McHugh. Then they have a bunch of short stories. Brenda Calt, Joe Miles, Dan Reed, Bill Pranzoni, and Barry N. Melsberg do one titled Never to Happen Again. Robert Reed, Joyce Evans, Alice Towie, William Paul Jones, and Bill Frank, and it goes on and on. Then they have science fiction, poetry, and then some regular departments. So I like the cover of this. Pretty good. So, but yeah, I wish they carried Asimov. I just need to subscribe. Then I went to listen, and that's also in West Lebanon, New Hampshire. So we got quite a drive before we get there. But when you live in a rural area, you get used to driving everywhere. So, and I did okay today. So it's the Listen charity shop over in West Lebanon, New Hampshire. So this is Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express, Hercule Parole mystery. It's in this Agatha Christie collection. I like these little hardbacks. I've seen them many times. I never did collect them. This has an old Borders sticker on it. So, and it's a mystery, Hercule Parole mystery. Takes place on a train, hence the Orient Express. It's a good story. I have not read it in quite a while, but I've read it multiple times. But I realize the only Agatha Christie I have in the house, as far as I know, is a set of plays about Akhenaten. I have and a collection of short stories about Miss Marple. So no Hercule Poirot, who I like. So maybe I'll give it a reread. Then I have never read this, and I've heard about it a million times. It seems like a nice copy. This is Lark Rise to Candleford, a trilogy by Flora Thompson, as seen on PBS. It's one of these Godine books. It seems real. It has acid-free paper, and it seems to really be put together well. It's got these little woodcuts throughout. Sort of a homage to not the turn of this last century, but the prior century, 19th to 20th century. Sort of losing away a rural life, and very famous for how it evokes that life. And the sort of thing that I think I might enjoy. Like I said, I've never read it. Let me see if they got a title page here. Poor People's Houses. That's how they started off. Let me see if they got a title page. I know they do. Yeah, right here. I like this. This is a non-Periel book. David Godine, publisher out of Boston. But if you need to get a hold of them, you got to do a New Hampshire post office box. So, yeah, I know it's very much a beloved book. I'm looking forward to getting this. Might be a nice winter's read, So, and then the next one here is from a Vermont author. Teaches over at Middlebury College. I've read many of his books. I think the last thing I read was The Last Station, his novel about Tolstoy and family and all that. This is one of his biographies, at which he is also very, very good. And this is John Steinbeck by Jay Perini. I'll have to clean it up a little bit. Easiest way on these slick dust jackets is if you've ever seen those little alcohol pads that they rub your arm with before they give you a shot. I always keep a box around, and you'll clean these up and you'll be shocked at how much comes off of them. Can't use it on every kind. If it's a real rough and dry, very papery dust jacket, don't do it. But on these it works really good. The kind that are giving you a glare, they work really well on. So here's the house. So Steinbeck was a writer from the American West. Was very very formative for him. He had a love of the West. He did live out here in New England quite a bit, and in New York. And he did travel a lot. He was a war correspondent also. He also did stuff down in the Sea of Cortez. He did with Eddie Ricketts and some marine biology stuff. And I really am one of the people who really like Steinbeck. Some people don't, but that's fine. I'll guarantee you every writer has people who don't like him. So I like Steinbeck. I like Jay Perini's writing. I like his nonfiction and fiction about equally well, and that's fairly rare for me. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I've read other Steinbeck biographies, and I was just trying to think of what the big giant orange penguin one was. And I can't remember, but it was out years ago. And it was good. So if anybody knows, just leave a comment or I'll go look it up myself. So a nice little haul there. Then I got these penguin black covered classics. I got Herodotus, the History. Now I have other versions of this. I got this for the translation, and it's an older one. It's translated by Aubrey de Selincourt, which many of you have heard of, but it's revised in an introduction and notes by John Marincola. I've seen other people on BookTube use this translation and seem to enjoy it. So I thought, well, I'm going to grab it. It costs 75 cents, and it's good shape. When you get these little white nicks, just get a black marker. Cleans it right up. So, and then this one will need a little more cleaning up, but I'm actually pretty good at it. I've gotten used to it. This is something I've never read. I have seen it on BookTube, and this is The Monk. And again, one of these Penguin classics, and this is by Matthew Lewis. Savaged by critics for its supposed profanity and obscenity, and bought in large numbers by readers eager to see whether it lived up to its lurid reputation. You want to sell a book, that's how you do it. The Monk became a success de scandale, not least because its author was a member of Parliament and only 20 years old. It recalls the diabolical decline of Ambrosio, a Capuchin superior who succumbs to the temptations offered by a young girl who has entered his monastery disguised as a boy, and continues his descent with increasingly depraved acts of sorcery, murder, incest, and torture. Combining sensationalism and acute psychological insight, this masterpiece of Gothic fiction is a powerful exploration of how violent and erotic impulses can break through the barriers of social and moral restraint. This edition is based on the first edition of 1796, published before Lewis made revisions to avoid charges of blasphemy. Oh, they're going to give you the good stuff. Or scary stuff. In his introduction, Christopher McLachlan discusses the novel's place within the Gothic genre and its themes of sexual desire and abuse of power. Quite a cover here. Who did the cover? Oh my gosh, they have to make these things like... I always have one of these nearby so I can read this stuff like this. But the light is killing it. A Detail from the Fall of the Dam by Dirk Bouts, the Elder, circa 1450. Well, that took a little bit of work to find, but find it we did. So yeah, that's it. Let me make a little Steve Donahue pyramid here with these. Try to get them in some sort of size order so everything doesn't go flying. I won't include the comic books. You've already seen those. So maybe I'll hold them up separate. So we have Jay Perini's biography of John Steinbeck. We have The Lark Rise to Candleford, a sort of nostalgic view, I'm guessing, of a time that's disappearing. Then you have Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. Hercule Parole is the hero. Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. Analog Magazine. Herodotus, the History, the Selincourt translation with a little bit of updating. And then, what's his name again here? Matthew Lewis. I have to remember that. I've never read this book, The Monk, but I wasn't going to just let it sit there, and I'm sure plenty of you have read it. So I didn't really realize that it had such a controversial subject matter. And then on the comic books, I got the first Firefly from Boom, River Run. I don't know what you think about that cover. I'm still sort of mulling it over a little bit. Then we have number 1, which followed 0 of Mirror War, Star Trek, and its generations. I have not read either one yet. And then Dune, and this I have been reading, House Atreides number 11. Enjoying them very much. So, hope you are all well. Like I say, it's bright and shiny out. Bright and sunshiny out. So, I'm probably not going to read for a little while. I'm going to go outside, enjoy a fall day, because the week is going to be a doozy. I think parts of the country are already getting hammered with rain, so it's heading here. So I hope you're all well, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.